to JB Live Podcast. Come on in the room. We have about 2 minutes before we go live.
Welcome, welcome everybody. We appreciate you guys coming again to join J&B Live. We have a hot topic this evening.
Yeah, when love hurts, navigating that pain, how do you deal with it? So come on in, come on in. Thank you for joining us. We look forward to this hot topic this evening. So glad you decided to join us. Come on in, come on in. We have about a minute before we get started. Thank you for joining us. We have a hot topic tonight, this evening, when
Yes.
love hurts, navigating and dealing with the pain with relationships. Doesn't necessarily have to be boyfriend, girlfriend, husband, wife. It can also be a friend, a relative. It can be any of the above, any of them. So come on in, come on in. Thank you for joining us.
Welcome, welcome, welcome everybody.
Yes. We need your support. Come on in.
Hope you guys had a great day today.
Yes.
Today was an amazing day, so we're happy to be able to be here to talk to you guys.
Yes. And so the last time we went live, that was before the Thanksgiving holidays, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So we hope everybody had a wonderful Thanksgiving. I hope you got an opportunity to spend time with family and friends.
All right, everybody, we're gonna give it maybe about one more minute.
Come on in, come on in. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Thank you for joining us. As Broker J3 just said a few minutes ago, we have a hot topic. When love hurts, dealing with the heart, navigating pain and dealing with that pain from previous relationships.
Yeah.
Or it could be a current relationship, doesn't necessarily have to be a past relationship. So come on in, join us for this hot topic this evening.
Yes,
Yes. Thank you for your support. Come on in, come on in.
We appreciate you guys. Thank you for joining.
Yes, thank you, thank you.
All right, we're gonna go ahead and get things started today. We'd like to thank you for joining J&B Live. I'm Broker J3,
Doc B.
and we appreciate you guys. So we're gonna go ahead and jump right in, and we're gonna talk about it. Again, today's topic is when love hurts, and we want to talk about how to navigate through the pain, to see how you can be able to get through trying times like that when your relationship is going through a struggle, um, knowing when to decide, you know, whether to fight for it or whether to let it go.
Yeah, you have to know when it's time to walk away. Yes, you do.
Well, first of all, usually people start experiencing these issues in the relationship when they start noticing things declining in the relationship, be it the intimacy, the communication, or just bonding with one another. What are your thoughts?
Well, people notice when the relationship is fading. In other words, they know when that person is not giving them that time that they usually give them, or if you don't feel the same way that you felt about a person. Now, I do understand that some relationships, when you first enter into a relationship, everything is a bed of roses and then it's excitement and all of that. And as time progresses, you don't have all of that. You don't, it's not as electrifying as it once was at a time. But there's a difference between that stage and that relationship fading when that person does not feel the same way, because you can still feel the same way about that person even though everything is not as exciting as it once was.
But you would say that that's like something that builds up, because it's not like it just happens all at once where the relationship just fades out. You start noticing little subtleties in the relationship, and when you notice those things, what do you suggest people should do when they start noticing that the relationship is taking a shift?
Well, when you notice that that relationship is taking a shift, then the first thing you want to do is to talk to your significant other. You want to share with that person, whether a friend or whatever, doesn't necessarily have to be a significant other, but that person, how you're feeling, and that you notice a change, and that you're not just imagining things. Because sometimes it can be easily be played off and say, well, hey, you're just imagining things. So you want to make the changes known to that person.
So basically, you're saying that they should make it clear as to what's going on. So, example, if uh, if you guys are used to talking a lot, and you notice that you don't talk as much, or if you're used to being intimate a lot and that significantly dies down, you saying you would approach it being telling your partner, hey, I just wanted to bring this to your attention. We used to talk more,
Yeah, yeah.
and it seems like we talk less now, and I just wanted to see, what's going on to make sure that we're still good.
Yeah, and sometimes work can get in the way, or there's some other things that could possibly get in the way of a relationship of two people spending time together. So that can happen, but it's very important that you bring that to that person's attention. Maybe you just need a weekend away where you can rekindle and reconnect to get things back on track. So that is possible as well, because we all get busy. We all have what's called life, so things do happen.
So something like a vacation.
Yeah, a vacation.
Okay.
Yes, or a mini vacation, one or the other.
I hear that. So that's a good suggestion. If you guys start noticing some subtle change in relationship, maybe suggest some things that can maybe spruce things back up, maybe rekindle that fire. Okay, so let's say that you done discussed it, talked about it, and may have seen some changes for the better, but the consistency in the decline is still there. So, what would be like the next step at that point?
Okay, so if you notice those changes and you shared it with your with that person, and that person is not willing to do anything, then you have to personally deal with it. You're going to deal with the hurt, the pain, because some people can be affected by that, and to them, that's hurtful when that person is not showing them that they feel the same way as they do. So you have to be able to deal with that hurt, deal with that pain, and then you have to decide how you're going to move forward.
Yeah, I think that's kind of difficult for some people because, depending on the time frame that you've been with that person, say you spent 2-3 years with that person, a lot of people, older people may not really see that as a super long time, but especially for younger folks, 2-3 years almost feels like they've given a lot of their time to this one particular person. So how would you approach dealing with knowing whether to let go or to try to fight for your relationship?
Well, statistically, a lot of people give up on relationships, particularly marriages, too soon. They expect for everything to be that bed of roses that I mentioned earlier. And so when that doesn't happen, a lot of people are just ready to bail. But when we think about our parents and our grandparents, once they made vows and once they took those vows to get married or for marriage, they don't believe in divorce.
Oh,
They just don't believe in divorce, and and part of me wishes that we would get back to those tradition, that way of thinking, because oftentimes people give up too soon. So what I would say is do everything in your power to try to get the relationship back on track, because you don't want to end a relationship when you can get it back on track. You don't want to do that.
Yeah, I totally agree that relationships don't have that staying power like they used to. My parents' marriage is going on almost 50 years, so I totally understand. And it's amazing that you say that because when you think about vows, when especially for the ones that gotten married, you use those terms for better, for worse,
Yes.
sickness and health, for richer or for poorer. But we know one of the number one causes of divorce is financial situation. So it's like when your finances are not as they used to be, a lot of times, they want to bail from the relationship, they want to end it. I didn't sign up for this. I thought we was gonna live a better life than this. Even though you said for richer and for poorer. Sometimes you're gonna go through those struggles, or even sickness and in health. What if your significant other, has a stroke, and they're physically, you know, are going through some changes because of that stroke. They're no longer functioning as they did before. You know, for some people, when they make that vow, sickness and health, they're like, yeah, because at that time, both of you guys are physically, able to do things that you want to do. But what if your partner can't do what they used to do anymore?
And earlier today, I had a doctor's appointment, and when I got ready to get on the elevator, there were two African American women that were pushing or assisting their husbands, because I did see the vans. They were in wheelchairs, and the two the two women, they helped their uh, husband in the elevator. And when I saw that, I thought about it. I said to myself, they probably didn't sign up for that either. They didn't sign up for that, but because of their vows, they're there to support their husbands, like you said, in sickness and in health.
Okay,
So that speaks volumes.
and now that you done got to the point where you've done discussed the issues that you see where the relationship is declining, you've taken the time to really figure out whether you wanted to stay in the relationship or fight for your marriage. Now, as you said before, we would suggest for anyone to
Yes.
fight for your relationship.
Absolutely.
If it's a good relationship, really consider
Yes, yes.
but if they're not, if they're not, we talked about it. If it's something financial, maybe a sickness, or just because you guys are not truly communicating like you used to, you might want to consider fighting for your relationship.
Yeah.
And as we discussed one time before, when you're having these issues, you know, I would suggest consulting a marriage counselor or a therapist. Do not go to your family members. Do not go to your bestie. Do not go to your best buddy to get these questions answered in regards to relationship, because they may not give you a real helpful suggestions for that relationship. Because if you talk to, for us guys, if you talk to your buddy and he just recently went through a divorce and it went real bad, he may not tell you to fight for your marriage. He may tell you, hey, let her go. You'll wind up saving yourself some issues later, or vice versa. You know how some women are. Girl, he ain't worth it. He done lost his job.
Yeah.
Now you gotta pay the bill. Girl, you need to let him go.
Or they'll say I knew he wasn't no good. Yeah, you should leave him. So don't let those other people, friends, family, in your ear. You want to seek some professional counseling. That's what you want to do. And by all means, if you deem that your relationship is worth saving, then you want to seek some professional help.
Exactly. Now, after you've gotten to that point and you realize that, okay, this relationship is over. Now, at that point, even before you exit the relationship, you're going to start going through some mental issues. What I mean by that is you're going to be flooded with a lot of emotions. in regards to that relationship, the ties that you guys had, knowing that you're going to be removed out of that relationship.
Yeah. Now, I can truly say some people may not go through some emotional things. Some people don't deal with this type of relationship or a breakup like everybody else does.
Right.
Some people could be unaffected by it at all. Some
Yeah.
people won't be affected, but some people, probably the majority of us will. And so you've got to determine how you're going to deal with the hurt, how you're going to deal with the pain of
Right.
no longer being in that relationship.
Yeah. Especially if your partner, like for instance, you say, well, I just think it's time for us to be over or divorced, whatever the case may be, and just be prepared if the other person say, no problem, let's do it. With, like you say, with no emotions whatsoever. At that point, if you're totally wrapped into this person and they want to just let it go, just like that, you have to be prepared for that. You can't cause confrontations because, they may not feel the same. They may be ready to leave. They may have been wanted the relationship to be over with. They just was waiting for you to acknowledge that you was tired of dealing with it.
And then there may be occasions where that person would say they no longer want the relationship, and then the other person said, well, hey, what you been waiting on? I've been waiting on you to say something. And then that person may change their mind. So there may be some flip-flopping as well. But the key to it is to remember, whatever side of the track you're on, just remember that saying, the grass is not always greener on the other side.
Exactly.
So therefore, you want to take this very seriously as to whether you want to end a relationship, because there can be repercussions from that relationship ending it.
Now, let's say the relationship is over. You guys moved on your separate ways. You're no longer having communications with each other, especially if you don't have any children. And you're no longer in that relationship, regardless whether it was 2, 3 years. Now you see yourself single again. And, how do you deal with that, especially if you was deeply in love with this person and now you're starting to feel it, because how they always say you don't mix water till the well runs dry. So regardless how good or bad a person is, sometimes you don't miss you start to miss certain things about that person when you're by yourself.
Yeah, and that's normal. And prayer, that's what I suggest. A lot of praying for God to guide you and to get you through this difficult time, because it will be difficult. Because if you're so, especially for those that have been in a relationship or been married for so long, that's all they know. So of course, when it's just like a person dying, when you're no longer in that relationship, that person is gone. So it's just like death. So you've got to heal your body, and you've got to keep yourself busy, keep yourself occupied, read, just become involved with a lot of things to keep your mind going, because you don't want it to become idle at this time. But you also want to be able to deal with the emotional pain. And I suggest counseling as well, because a lot of people have a hard time dealing with a breakup. So if that is you, then you want to seek some counseling as well.
Well, I'm glad you mentioned death, because sometimes the relationship can end because of death. One of my classmates actually had posted about her husband's birthday was today, and wished him a happily heavenly birthday today.
Okay.
And this is the first birthday in 20 years that she spent without her husband on his birthday. So, love can hurt after that relationship, not necessarily always because of a breakup. Sometimes it can come because of death, and dealing with that pain and dealing with that hurt from that relationship can be very difficult sometimes.
Yes. Yeah, I have a friend as well who she visits her husband, because he's still her husband, deceased or not. But visits his grave regularly and has conversations with him. So, um, missing that person is significant to them. and they deal with it the best way they know how. Now, this particular person, she'll talk to me or she'll talk to other widows about her pain and what she's feeling, and they have helped her to cope with what she's dealing with.
But how do you move on? Because so many people, they get stuck, and I'm sure you've had a friend or two that you talk to, and it's like they're stuck, and you want to give them good advice, because some people are not going to go see a therapist, some people are not going to go see a counselor, and but they confiding in you because the relationship is over. They're by themselves now.
Yeah.
So what advice can you give them? We know prayer. They're not going to go to a counselor. So what advice can you give them to help them to be able to move on from that situation? See, um, we both know sometimes you get good and bad advice
Mhm.
because I know a lot of male guys. I'm not sure if females do this, but a lot of male guys say, "Hey, one way to get over a girl is go get you another one,"
Mhm.
and sometimes that's not always the best
No,
advice.
that's not the best advice at all. So the terminology that females use is the best way to get over a guy is to get under another one. But that is not the best advice. I would take some time to get to know yourself. A lot of people don't realize how important it is, but it's very important for you to get to know yourself uh, and get ready for another relationship. A relationship is something that you don't really want to think about at that point. But I just suggest getting to know yourself, learning to love yourself all over again. And as he mentioned earlier, I would recommend prayer. I would recommend counseling. I would recommend keeping yourself occupied, find a hobby, do more reading, do more soul searching, get in contact with yourself and learn to love you. That's where you need to start, because in order for you to go out and meet other people, I suggest you get to know yourself first. And then, of course, you want to look for moving on. This is what we're talking about, moving on. You want to list the characteristics that you're looking for in a mate. And we talked about this, during another episode, so that you don't repeat the same thing. Look for some of the characteristics that you're just not going to tolerate. Look for the things that you're looking for, the positive versus the negatives, so that when you are ready for a relationship, not that it's going to be anytime soon, then you're more prepared.
I agree because a lot of times uh, after a relationship is over, people don't take enough time
Mhm.
to heal. A lot of people don't know that they're still hurting. When that relationship is over, and sometimes it takes certain situations or instances to happen where they realize that they're still hurting. Like when you meet when you're talking to someone that's been hurt through a relationship, and that relationship is over, and you're talking to them, and they're constantly bringing up
Mhm.
things from their ex.
From the ex.
He used to do that. She used to do that. Or can you stop doing that? It irritates me because their ex used to do it.
Mhm.
So you have to keep in mind, nobody is the same. You may meet people that have similar tendencies or whatnot, but they're not the same person.
Mhm.
So you really have to take time to heal before you try to get out to meet somebody else, because we hear it all the time about bringing that baggage. You don't want to bring your baggage. We're not talking about children here.
Mhm.
You don't want to bring your baggage, your baggage, your hurt, your pain, your grief,
Guilt,
your
your
guilt,
sorrow. Yes.
everything to someone new, because this person is not prepared for that. They may like you and they may want to start to get to know you, but they're not prepared for you when you're not fully healed, because you can find yourself hurting someone else because you have not truly healed yourself.
And now I can't stress this enough. Some people do not have a problem going from relationship to relationship. I kid you not. I've met several females, and I'm sure you know some guys that don't have a problem breaking up with one person one day and being with another person the next day. I just don't recommend it. I recommend you give your body time to heal and to get to know you and learn to know you. But what are the reasons? I don't know what those reasons but I do know that some people don't have a problem with that.
Well, you know, a lot of times, usually when that's the case, usually those people have been talking to those other people while they were still in their relationship.
That is a possibility.
You know, now true enough, some of them can end the relationship today and tomorrow they're out dating or with someone else. Like they haven't even been in a relationship for 3 years.
Yeah.
So, you know, I know a lot of you guys out there, especially some of you young adults, older adults, have been in relationships and you know that have failed or ended due for whatever reason.
Yes.
And I know sometimes getting through the hurt, getting through the healing process, um, can be a process. But remember, you know, you can get past it. And I totally agree with Dr. B. I think the number one thing to do is to pray. You know, I'm not saying that you have to be holier than I and
Yes.
all that, but
Yeah.
but if whatever God you believe in, you know, pray. Let them know that hey, I'm going through this. I need your help. You know, help to heal me. You know, find that hobby. You know, if you know, if you haven't been to church in a while, start going to church. You know, start meeting some people with positive state of mind that can help get you back on track.
And try to spend time with like-minded people that think the way you do, have the same morals, ethics, and standards. Now, what we want you to do is share with us how you deal with painful relationships. Maybe the information that you share with us, someone else can use that information, or possibly we could use it. You just don't never know. But share with us how you deal with it.
Yeah, and for you guys, like we always say, whether you joined us on the live or whether you go back and watch one of the episodes, feel free to comment. It doesn't matter if it was an episode a month ago and that episode really connected with you. Comment. Let us know how you feel about that particular topic. We always will be glad to go back and revisit topics, especially when we see those comments that people may have. We want to make sure we can get it out there because, again, this is not about Doc B and myself. We do this for our subscribers, for our followers, for you guys. We want to get these topics out because these are not topics that just pop up in our head. Our subscribers and followers, you know, ask us to talk about these topics because these are things that they may be going through and, you know, they want us to get it out there.
Yeah, and this time of the year is extremely difficult because it's the holidays. And dealing with pain is even worse during the holiday season. I'm not saying it's not bad the regular time, but it's just even worse during the holiday season. So we want everybody to be able to deal with that pain. And what better way to deal with it than us talking about it and then you sharing with us how you're dealing with it as well.
That sounds great, Doc B. Well, we appreciate you guys joining us today. And again, you know, feel free to chime in, leave a comment, let us know how you guys feel. We thank you for joining us today. We had a good time.
Yes.
Hopefully in the future we'll be able to engage with you guys more. We look forward to it. And we thank you for joining J&B Live. I'm Bro J3.
Dr. B.
And we appreciate you guys for joining us. Thank you for your support. Remember to subscribe, follow, and share. Thank you. Had a great time today, Dr. B.
Yes.
Had a great time.
Yes. Awesome.